Thank you. Now, it is my distinct honor to introduce today's convocation speaker, the Mayor of Austin, Kirk Watson. Mayor Kirk Watson has been immersed in public policy spanning local and state government in Texas for more than 3 decades. This includes more than 13 years in the Texas Senate, including being elected by his colleagues as President Pro Temp of the Senate in 2019. It also includes his first term as Austin's mayor from 1997 to 2001, and his re-election to that role last year. Mayor Watson also served as the founding dean of the Hobby School of Public Affairs at the University of Houston. He is the recipient of too many awards to mention, but I will point out one. In 2016, he was recognized on this campus with the prestigious President's Citation from the University of Texas at Austin, being honored that year alongside 2 of our most distinguished alumni, the Honorable Wallace Jefferson and Janice Longoria. Mayor Watson has his law degree from Baylor University. We'll forgive him for that. And he has been a shining example of what it means to put the knowledge, tenacity, and passion of being a lawyer to the task of being a public servant. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Kirk Watson.
Thank you very much. Great speech. Great speech. Well, thank you very much, Dean and esteemed faculty, graduates, families, and friends. I'm very honored, really honored to be speaking today at this really pretty great moment for all of you. The way I see it, being a lawyer is likely the most defining part of who I am. I'm a husband, yeah. I'm a father. I'm now a grandfather. I hold a religious faith. I survived cancer when I was a young lawyer, and I've held elective offices that carry some fancy titles that I'm pretty proud of. But it's a profound pride that I have in the ideals of this profession and what I've always felt like it meant to be a lawyer that I think most defines who I am. And it's from that perspective that I say to each of you, with respect, admiration, and not just a little bit of envy for you, as you commence this part of your lives, congratulations. You should be so excited about what you've achieved. And my deepest hope for you is that decades from now, your pride lets you say that you're defined by what it is meant to be a lawyer. To some degree, I was likely always destined to be a lawyer, even though we didn't have any lawyers in our family. In fact, my dad likely set me on this course at a very young age. I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and back then, they gave you grades for conduct. And if you talked too much, you got a lower grade. I got a lower grade. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old when my old man said to me, "Son, we need to figure out a way for you to make a living with that mouth. Otherwise, it's going to just get you in trouble." I admit to you that a big part of the pride I have in being a lawyer comes from a sort of personal code or an articulation of ethics of what we should be and how we should do things. When I was in your position, I found strength in becoming part of a profession that was defined by precedent and not politics, that celebrated the strength and, yes, in some cases, the elasticity of things like our Constitution to protect and assure rights over fear, and that relied on integrity, collaboration, and problem solving, even in an adversary system, instead of just burning the village in the name of saving it. My generation inherited something pretty special. Things were different than before, sure. Society moves on, But lawyers had been and were guardians of people and the system. That sounds cliche, and I guess it is, but that doesn't mean it wasn't and isn't truth, including today. As a profession, we had been and have been embraced. We are and were embedded in society. We're looked to as the arbiters, the holders of the rules, the keepers of values, so much so that people essentially gave us a monopoly over the third branch of government. They put us in control of the judiciary and consequently over the balance of democratic institutions. We were expected, and lawyers tended to accept the responsibility of public service because we held special training, knowledge, and place. And I'll tell you, I don't think this is just an old man being sentimental. People feel that today, most people. They understand we can't be functional without the rule of law. We want justice. Our basic empathy, the fundamental empathy we feel as a person, that empathy demands equity and equality. We dream of freedom and we celebrate human rights. Doing all of this well, functioning in a way that builds hope, meets dreams, values both the person and all of the people living together, is essentially a fundamental human desire. And the law and lawyers are in the center of where it all seems to come together. The generosity of the laws and a system created with the intention of so much good. There's value that comes from having some certainty in the law. There's protection in the cloak of a rule. Dr. King said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. There's hope found in being a champion of the law so that you help assure that justice comes sooner and better. Now, we can debate and discuss what you've been handed and how healthy the system and the profession is today. And depending on my mood, I can argue strongly both sides of the issue. But this time today, well, that's about the future. Let's focus on that future. In 43 years, it will be 2067. Now, I use that date because while it's hard to visualize 2067, it's easier if you think about the fact that I've been a lawyer for 43 years. You will be the ones serving us during this increment of time. You are the people who will carry this system into the third part of the 21st century. It will require work. We know there will be changes, some impossible to predict, and that will require the role of law to also change. How fast will those changes come? What will you, as a member of the profession, hand off? What will being a lawyer mean in that period of time? My request of you is to feel it in your gut that this is more than just a degree. It's a responsibility. The system, including one that must evolve because society evolves, depends on you. In fact, we can't do the next generation of laws, the practice of law, the role of lawyers in society, government, and the success of our country, state, and city without you. Look for, seek out your special role and make it meaningful. How you practice public service, the day-to-day example and actions you bring to everyday life. As has been pointed out, this pretty great institution called the University of Texas at Austin has a phrase that only the flagship in the great state of Texas would get away with saying. What starts here changes the world. But if you really accept your responsibility, if you set the values, if you become the guardians our society needs, what starts here with you today will be made better, again, for individuals and our society by assuring greater justice, happiness, and a system that thrives. I guess I've now gone to preaching. Maybe there was something else I could do with that mouth. So what I'll do is I will tell you I pray for your happiness and your success. God bless you all and have great good luck. Thank you very much.